And we're joined now inside the Nation Network studio by Frank Seravalli of the Daily Face-Off and the Frankly Speaking podcast, who had the news.
Sobering news.
Quite a bombshell.
Yeah, Thatcher Demko out for game 2 for the Vancouver Canucks. And you could tell my spidey senses were tingling the last couple days. Not available to the media post game 1, game day between games, doesn't practice, not out there for morning skate, day of game 2. You're thinking that's quite odd, having covered enough playoff series. There's all sorts of gamesmanship at this time of year. Of course, the Canucks don't want to tip their hand, but I can say with absolute certainty that Thatcher Demko is out for game 2, and his status for this series is very much in question.
Do we know it's a re-aggravation of the knee injury? Do we know when and if it happened on that big stretching save early in game 1 on Beauvillier?
No, I don't think it happened on the Beauvillier save. And I don't have any concrete details, but the earliest sense that I got was that this was something totally unrelated.
This is with only the 2 games run up in the regular season, these were some of the risks, of course. If it was a 10-game run up, maybe this little re-aggravation happens a lot earlier.
It's not a re-aggravation. I don't think it's related at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
that part is injury.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe the toughest part is, look, details at this time of year are scarce. They're kept under lock and key. But as best as I can tell, I don't think it's related.
In some ways, is that good news, Frank? I mean, it could be, if it's just a tweak of something else, is I don't know. To me, that I can spin that into almost good news, in that it's because if it's a knee injury previously, which is what he's talked about, knees are pretty critical, obviously. And now we don't have news that it's not a critical part of the body, like a hip or anything anyway. But maybe it's something.
I understand why you'd want to try and find some spin.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this: the Vancouver Canucks are without their game-changing goalie, and potentially for this entire round.
How do you
That's
think?
hard to spin that any other way.
No,
it's true.
How do you think Casey DeSmith will do?
Look, I think the Canucks have had a lot of trust into Smith all year. I think he's really fit in nicely with the team. He was obviously asked to do a lot of heavy lifting for a pretty significant stretch of the season. I think he performed well enough. Did he light the world on fire? Absolutely not. But did he fill the role and void admirably at the time? Yes. And I think, given where the Canucks were at the time, the fact that they still ended up winning the division with Thatcher Demko missing as much time as he did probably is a pretty good indication of what they have in front of them with the Smith. He's someone that is certainly capable.
Big win versus Edmonton late would add some confidence into Smith. Obviously, what kind of confidence does this give the Nashville Predators when they take to the ice? They know they're not staring at Demko. Do you think that gives them wind underneath their wings at all?
I think that's maybe the toughest part for the Canucks and Canucks fans, is that you think to that save that he made on Beauvillier and how honestly the entire complexion of game 1 could be different. It's early in the game. Significant opportunity on the 2-on-1 for Nashville. Electric building. They have the ability to quiet it and begin to plant seeds of doubt in the Canucks' minds. And Demko extinguished that with one swift leg kick. And that was really significant. Now, the next part is, hey, can you find some way to elevate your game knowing that your starter's out? For Nashville, look, what I would say is they'd probably have to worry about themselves. I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but it's UC Saros is the one who gave up the muffin from just inside the blue line that I think, clean that up, and game 1 might also have been different.
So definitely out for game 2, questionable for the series. Do you think he's going to travel to Nashville? Is there any hope that he plays in Nashville?
I'd say at least for games 3 and 4, probably pretty unlikely that he goes to Nashville.
Stay back and
rehabilitate. Yeah. And
everything from here on is just about as much as you can get, as much as you can do to get back.
Yeah, and the 2-day breaks in this series might do him well.
2 extra days of rest.
After
We'll
game
see.
2.
I mean,
and-
it's there's no doubt the Canucks are in a tough spot right now.
Yeah. Have you heard of Canuck luck? Are you familiar when we talk about Canuck luck?
I'm not.
Okay, if they
But
have
I did
any
see the
luck-
replies to my tweets.
It's Murphy's Law-esque, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after a season of going through relatively unscathed, we had talked about this in the final week of the regular season, that all of their best players, their top 6 scores, 7 scores, did not miss games due to injury at all this season. It was an incredibly healthy season for the Vancouver Canucks. Canuck luck strikes here in the playoffs with Thatcher Demko.
But heroes are born out of these sorts of circumstances, right?
Hey, and I think it really helps. Not close to the same thing as Ullmark and Swayman in terms of ability or in terms of friendship or anything like that. But Demko and DeSmith really kind of became close this season.
Mhm.
Maybe there's something to, DeSmith coming in and lifting this team up. I think you're grasping at this point, but
Yes.
Mhm.
That's all we got.
yeah, I mean, what else? What's the
Mhm.
alternative? This is why that's what the tweets are all saying. This is why the Canucks can't have nice things.
Yeah, great reporting, Frank. Welcome to Vancouver.
Yes.
Wish we met under better circumstances here in the Nation Network studio, but thanks for this, and we'll catch up later in the week.